In addiction, in a split second, it can all be over, and all your chances to make a change are over right there. I had tried several times on my own to get sober, and it was just proving really difficult. And I was in a spot where I was committing a lot of crime to support my addiction, and I had spent some time in prison on a couple occasions and was homeless. You know, my family didn't want anything to do with me anymore, and it was just a really pretty awful time in my life.
I had been working at BNY Mellon for about 5 years, working on hedge funds. And I had no motivation, really, to be honest, to try to move up due to my drug use. I felt like I was stuck for a lot of years, and I knew something had to change.
In the part of my life that brought me to Ender's Island, I think at some point, a couple of months before then, I realized I had to get sober. Otherwise, my life would be forfeit. I felt like my soul, right, had been cut out of my body. Like I felt like I had no soul left inside of me. I lived only to be high, to do drugs, and to run away from my life, right? So when it comes to what my life was like before Ender's, that's what it was like.
Well, it's funny. I wouldn't say I chose Ender's Island. I would say Ender's Island chose me. I had my family bring me there on a couple different occasions, and Father Tom welcomed me in, and I turned him down and went back to my old life. But things just kept bringing me back to that island, and finally I, decided, I'm going to give it a shot, and that's where it all began.
I initially came here with a deal with my father. He said, if you do 30 days there, you can come back home. So I agreed. 30 days came up. I said, Dad, I'll wait a week or two. And that turned into today.
The sun rises, and the first thing it sees once it touches the skyline is Ender's. I mean, all the trees just have shadows instantly in the morning. I was like, is this my way out of trying to figure out how to stay sober? The answer was yes. I'll stay here. It was very simple,
At a lot of the other programs that I've tried, you go in there and you just feel like you're ready to get out, and you feel like, in a way, that the people that are there are just ready for you to get out and the next people to come in, and it's just mechanical, and it's just it's not personal. At Ender's Island, you really feel like you're not just another number. Everyone is truly invested in you and your recovery, and you can feel it, and that's a big piece of it, I think.
They really do want to help you. It's not just to get a paycheck. Father Tom doesn't take a page out of some textbook and say, here, this is what everybody's going to be doing. We've got kids 18 years old to I was 27 when I came up here. I think that individuality is the most important factor in helping the young men recover here.
Ender's Island is a family, and you really feel it right from the start. You might not feel like you're part of it just yet, but you can feel it and see it with the other people that are there.
You go to MASH, you go to meetings, you go to meals. Conversations are different. It's like a whole entire 360 change as to our lives beforehand, where we were living as, drug addicts or alcoholics or whatever we were recovering from.
The education and the resources that you get from Ender's Island, it's the best toolkit you could have for recovery. Absolutely, hands down.
I pretty much rebuilt my life while I was here. I remember crossing the causeway, and I have a completely different perspective now. When I was crossing it for the very first time, it was misty out, and I thought I was just going to be lost in the woods and forgotten about. Now, obviously, you cross the causeway, and I'm just grateful that I got to spend some time here and just enjoy the people, the land, just the whole beauty of the island. There's really not enough adjectives to describe the actual physical aesthetics of being here and how it helps us in recovery.
Now in my life, I can really do anything I want. Like I have this freedom, right, where I can, maintain anything and also like maintain my hobbies. So like I like hiking, I like running, I like playing musical instruments. I like listening to music. When I first got sober, I made a whole list of all the different albums I wanted to listen to.
For me, I don't even know that I'd call it a rebuilt life. I'd say it's just a built life. I don't know that I ever fully had one before. I kind of went from childhood into addiction, and I never really had an adult life until I got sober and built what I have now.
My life now, in my opinion, is spectacular. Especially when I look back on where I was in 2016, 2017, it's a drastic difference. I was still living at home with my parents. I had a job, but it was just collecting a paycheck for me. My life now, I'm married. I met my wife Andrea up here. She's from Westerly. So I'd never be married if it weren't for Enders Island.
Because of my, drug addiction, it was hard for me to stay in that moment, right? But now the moments that I have, I feel like it's easier for me to make the most of them, just while I'm in it, just to be present, because I am sober. Sometimes I'll go running at like 4 a.m. before the sun comes up. As it's coming up, I look at the stars. I do that in the wintertime too, just look at the stars, see shooting stars, see whatever God's got out there for me.
Things if you told me 10 years ago, hey Joe, you're gonna be gardening and taking care of all the bushes, I would have zero interest in it at that point.
Throughout my life, I never knew that I had an interest in art the way I do now. I never drew, I never painted, nothing really. And now I find great joy in sculpture and drawing, and especially carving in stone.
I'm very excited to be on the Board of Trustees. I started out as a resident, then became an employee, and now I have the ability to make some decisions and help the young men in the program. And I think I offer a unique perspective because of the steps that I took through Enders Island.
Well, I'm proud. I'm really proud of what I've done, and starting in October, I'm going to school, going to art school at Lime Academy full time, and I'm gonna give it a shot and see where things go. I'm excited. Today, I have a family. I have a fiance, and I get to watch my 2 children grow up and be their dad, and it's fantastic.